My mother-in-law is bad-mouthing me behind my back, so I drew a line.
You draw that line, girl.
So I've had major issues with my mother-in-law in the past, to the point where I blocked her. I gave birth to my daughter, also the first grandchild for them, in September. I am exclusively no bottles, pumping, etc. And have had a hard time with the baby, honestly. By the way, this comes from DJ1418, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, she had oral tihs that had to be revised, a major dairy allergy, and colic. Now, at 10 weeks, we are finally getting a grip on things, but we're still struggling some. She literally won't sleep anywhere but on me and hates anyone else holding her. With that being said, my mother-in-law and I have a rocky relationship, but I'm trying. I unblocked her 1 month before the baby came and have been trying to build a relationship. She is overbearing, expects to see the baby constantly, and texts us for updates every single day. I have had 2 or 3 separate conversations with her in the last 3 months about expectations. My spouse and I even went to counseling over this. I told her what we talked about and how I didn't know how to explain to someone what a normal amount of communication and time spent would be. It could be 2 weeks before she sees the baby, or we could see her 3 times in a week. It just depends on what's going on in our lives. Spouse and I also bought a house right before the baby was born. We are finishing our basement, we own a business, and we had an employee quit while I was on maternity leave. Mother-in-law knows all of this. The reason I'm posting. I suspected she was trash talking me because family members and friends of hers started deleting and even blocking me on social media. But technically, I had no proof it was because of her, and my spouse wouldn't listen. Yesterday, her niece, my spouse's cousin, came to visit the baby. She told us that his mom had been telling everyone I'm being unreasonable and that I'm just trying to keep her from seeing my baby. She claims that everyone else is allowed to visit whenever they want, but mother-in-law can't, etc. The cousin said she wanted my side of the story. I was vague with my side because I don't feel the need to defend myself. They all already believe her anyway, and I'm not like her. The issues lie between us, and I don't feel like it's anyone else's business. This cousin was also one of the people who deleted me from socials, and I wasn't even sure I wanted her to visit anyway. None of this is true. My mother-in-law has been over to see the baby more than literally anyone else in our lives. My sister stayed for a week when the baby was born, not to spend time with the baby, but to support me postpartum. Which is what people should be offering.
Absolutely.
They should be offering to help you, the person who just gave birth.
Yeah.
She helped me learn to clean my whole house for a week and cooked us 60 freezer meals so I wouldn't have to worry. She lives 2 hours away, and even that was the most time she has spent with us due to having her own family. I just cannot wrap my head around all of this. I don't feel like I have my spouse's support, and it's making me want to go no contact with his mom again. Also, why would I want someone who talks about me like that to the whole family around my child? My spouse has said nothing, and I'm fed up. He doesn't understand. He told me all he wanted was for me to try with his mom, and I have. But she's still talking crap about me. I'm just tired. I don't have the energy for this. The fact that she did this throughout my whole pregnancy, and now while I'm postpartum, dealing with various issues with my child while also being an FTM, is so selfish. It is making me genuinely hate her at this point. If she really loved and cared about us in any way, she would be understanding and not making our lives harder. My spouse's response. I'm really upset with him because he has only said something to her once. So frustrating. This is why you have a problem with your mother-in-law, because your husband is not putting up any boundaries.
Yeah.
The conversations I have had with her were ones I wanted him to have, but he refused. So I finally had them myself and made sure he was there when I did. I feel like this is his mother and he should be standing up for me and addressing her behavior, but he just isn't. He should be.
Absolutely.
He won't even listen to me when I bring it up. Then weeks later, he'll say I already talked to him about it and doesn't understand why I'm still bringing it up. Except he never responds. He looks at me or doesn't when I talk about it, and he has nothing to say. He claims it's between mother-in-law and me and that he can't do anything about it. I hate this man. Divorce. Come on.
Come on, man. It's your mom.
Yeah, like he has nothing to do with it. If your partner is having a problem with your parent, you are the mediator.
Yeah.
You are the go-between.
Like, sorry. Don't know what to tell you. It's just true.
Even his cousin told him that maybe mother-in-law just needed to hear it from him, not me. Because coming from me, it sounds like it's just what I want, not what we want. So therefore, in their eyes, I'm just an unreasonable person who doesn't like his mom or want her around. Mostly just venting, but what would you do in this situation? And there is an update. Honestly, I think you need to sit your husband down and say, hey, we might need to go to marriage counseling because you're not listening to me. And you are putting all of this pressure on me to sort out my relationship with your mom when you need to pull some weight around here.
Yeah, like if you were having an issue with my mom, I would step in because as a partner or like a child-in-law, you don't have as much say as the actual blood child, you know? You just don't. So you gotta let it come from the husband.
True. But let's get into this update and see what OP does. Exactly what the title says. I'm not going to rant much about her history, but I recently found out mother-in-law has been talking crap on me to my in-laws. You can see the post in my history, and I contemplated not going to Thanksgiving yesterday, but I decided since I am exclusively breastfeeding, not pumping, and my baby can't go without me, and mother-in-law is the biggest issue, and I wanted to see some of the family that I do love and get along with, father-in-law's side, I would try to go, and also for my spouse's sake. My baby is 10 weeks old and hates the carrier, so I was originally going to baby wear, but that was not an option, so I had to tell everyone we weren't going to be passing her around since she's so little and it's sick season. My mother-in-law didn't say hi to me. Didn't make literally any type of conversation with me. I could tell she was pissed that we weren't going to let her hold baby. Came up and spoke to my baby one time and at a time when I had walked away from the crowd because she was getting tired and fussy, so it was literally the worst time to interrupt. I just walked away from her until she got the picture, but she didn't say a word to me and I couldn't be happier. On a side note, I hate this for spouse really because she ignored him too, but hopefully this is eye-opening for him as well. He needs some eye-opening. He needs her to behave badly to him too because it's a him problem and it always has been a him problem too.
Yeah.
Update 2. I'm not sure if this is allowed, but I just wanted to express that with some of the issues I've been having with mother-in-law and my significant other in turn, it has caused me to do a ton of self-reflection, research, and I am seeking out therapy for myself. Hopefully we'll also get couples therapy, but he's not wanting to go back at the moment. I came across the term enmeshment and have never heard the term before, but oh my God, this is my situation to a T. This is why it's mother-in-law, but also significant other all this time. It's not his fault, and he feels it's normal, which we know and have discussed previously in therapy. But now I have a word to describe the relationship and what's going on. It's not necessarily that she wants to date him or is creepy in that sense, though I've often wondered if it borders this, but it's because I was uneducated on things such as enmeshment. She is emotionally dependent on him, and in return, he is emotionally dependent on her. Whether they realize it, I don't think they do. Now that I have learned this term, I am seeing things in a whole new light, and everything is making so much sense. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It may be eye-opening for you as it has been for me. And there is a third update. Wow. Yeah, I would say they are definitely a little bit too tied up together because he's like, oh, I'm a mama's boy and I don't want to upset my mom.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, well, what if she's doing upsetting things?
Yeah, what if she is doing things to actively hinder peace in our life? What are you going to do?
You're going to stand up for yourself.
You're going to sit there on the sidelines like a coward? Update 3. So you can look at my past posts and see what we've been dealing with recently. Basically, in-laws invited us for Christmas Eve dinner, which I was not going to go anyway, because they refused to accommodate my little one's dairy allergy. And she said she was making chicken parm. Oh, I see, because OP can't eat that stuff because it would affect the milk, I see. I'm still not interacting with mother-in-law after she's been spreading lies about me. And my family had Christmas on Christmas Day this year, and I had food to prepare, presents to wrap, etc. They never gave my spouse a time, and typically dinner has meant 4 to 6 p.m. in the past. They live very close, and my spouse was going to follow up at 3 p.m. or so to see when mother-in-law wanted him to come. At 2 p.m., she texted him and said, I guess you're not coming. He immediately called and texted her, and she read his text and ignored him. So he didn't go. That's it. That's the drama this week. The kind of update to my previous posts, significant other is starting to come around and see his mother-in-law's behavior for what they truly are. I think it's just hard for him because it's been his norm and it's his mom. He finally had a full conversation with me about the recent drama in my previous posts and agrees that mother-in-law is overbearing and overstepping and in the wrong. We are still figuring out what to do that is best for our family, so she'll just have to wait while we process her lies and crap talking. But with Christmas Eve, she's not helping her case with my spouse, that's for sure. I'll update when we decide to have a conversation with mother-in-law and father-in-law. Or to give you Christmas drama, because we're having a big Christmas gathering for his family this weekend. To be continued into the next update. Wow. It keeps going.
So many updates.
I think you just got to combine them, OP. Update 4. So as I stated in my other post, I was struggling with my SO a bit. He's not used to saying no or setting boundaries with his family, and this has been a challenge for him. He doesn't like to talk about it or entertain conflict of any sort. That's obvious. So we took a month, and I had multiple conversations with him until I felt like we were on the same page, and also to let myself cool down. I'm 3 months postpartum, and I'm having a hard time with my emotions as well. I finally felt like we were on the same page. I feel like there's a shoe that's about to be dropped.
Yeah.
So we had mother-in-law and father-in-law over, and my spouse initiated a conversation. He pointed out that we are disappointed in mother-in-law's behavior, that it is causing animosity and stress that we shouldn't have to be dealing with in this time in our lives, and that it is making me uncomfortable to the point that I don't even want to go to family events because I don't know who's saying what about me, and I don't feel supported in my decisions as a mother or our decisions as a family. They have continued to pressure us to have more visits with them, even though they know we have had quite a rough time with little one in her first few months of life, not including other aspects of her life, the business, buying the house, finishing the basement, etc. I really feel like he did a great job standing up for me, so I'm very proud. As far as mother-in-law and father-in-law's responses, she tried to argue and say they weren't pressuring us for more visitation. I doubt that. The whole time they've been pressuring for visitation. I don't think that they're going to be like, oh no, that's not what we want. What are you talking about? We've never complained about that.
Right.
I guess maybe the significant other is putting in some work, but not enough for me. My spouse cut her off and said that when he had FaceTimed them and discussed her talking crap about me, that was the biggest topic of that conversation. So we called her out for, again, not being truthful.
All right, we're making some progress.
Father-in-law pointed out that I am very non-traditional, and it is something that they are having to get used to, which I agree with and am understanding of to an extent. Mother-in-law said she didn't understand why I had issues with her and not father-in-law. I told her it doesn't feel like he's judging me or pressuring me when he asks questions or when we have discussions. She, on the other hand, is forceful, and it feels like judgment, like it's her way or the highway type of deal. A situation that was discussed that I hadn't mentioned prior, they brought a family member to our home on one occasion when I was very newly postpartum without telling or asking us. That's not okay. With a little baby at home, and you don't even say like, hey, they're coming over.
Not cool.
Later, we discussed that we would like them to let us know if they're bringing people to our home. Mother-in-law told said family member, and they all took it personally. Now that family member has ignored me at all family events, etc.
This is crazy.
You dumb idiot. I hate them. Why are you making so many problems when this parent is just trying to take care of their kid?
Yeah. Come on. Leave her alone.
Leave her alone. We also discussed their friends who are family friends my spouse is close with. 3 or 4 different couples blocking and deleting me on social media. Mother-in-law claimed she had no idea why, except for one of them. She said it was because I had blocked that person for a time when we were in the thick of it during my pregnancy. I told her how uncomfortable I am around 3 of the 4 couples, and that because they're such a large part of my spouse's life, I'm not sure what to do to make things better. However, I never did anything to them in the first place, so the issue is that mother-in-law was talking negatively about me. She insisted she should be able to talk to her family and friends. We also discussed family that deleted/blocked me on social media. Opie is just getting like everyone's.
Oh my gosh.
And said that if they reacted that way, it wasn't because she told them to. I obviously never thought she directly told them to block me. I think she was just talking crap and giving one-sided stories. I told her it's not fair that I'm an individual and an outsider coming into this family, yet she's spreading things about me when I barely had a chance to form personal relationships with these people. Sometimes you can't just talk to everyone about everything. I told her she should have come to me or us if she had issues or concerns. She also complained that she cried on Christmas Day because we didn't spend it with them, saying everyone was asking her if we were. But we had discussed this earlier in the year. We do every other holiday with his family in mind. This year, it was Thanksgiving Day with them and Christmas Day with my family. Next year, they will have Christmas Day. I told her being disappointed or unfamiliar with our boundaries is okay, but saying whatever she is saying in the heat of the moment to family and friends is not okay. She is painting me as a monster when, in fact, all the boundaries we have placed are our boundaries as a family. Singling me out is unacceptable. I don't know if I missed anything, but I just told them they can ask questions about things they are unfamiliar with or when they have concerns. We can find common ground or reiterate that these are our decisions. But nothing will ever get better if she keeps discussing our issues with everyone but us. It's much better to just sweep all the issues into a nice, neat pile so you can deal with them instead of casting them everywhere. Because then you gotta like go around and it's like 50 card pickup. It takes forever.
Exactly. It's like you have like a issue tree, and instead of going straight for the roots, you're just like pruning the leaves over and over. And it's like, what's that gonna do?
Nothing. Some of the things we've done that she has taken issue with include I had a home birth instead of going to the hospital. We are delaying vaccinations and maybe not doing all of them. Edit to add, this has been discussed at length with our pediatrician. I am not looking for medical opinions. We co-sleep with our child. We don't let them show up uninvited whenever they want, and we don't allow them to hold her at a large family gathering since she's so young. We also discussed the cousin confronting me about what mother-in-law has to say about me. Mother-in-law kept claiming that the cousin was in the wrong and that she never said any of those things to her, insisting that the cousin had no right to come to me. I disagreed and said I understood why she came to us. She loves mother-in-law and was obviously trying to help resolve a situation that was upsetting her. Regardless of what mother-in-law did or didn't actually say, she implied or made the cousin think these things by the way she spoke to her. Again, the bottom line is that she is painting a horrible picture of me to friends and family. I am the newest member and an outsider, and she is causing them to see me in a certain way, when in reality, these are our decisions as a family. I had previously told her, due to the issues we were already having, that I wasn't comfortable spending alone time with her and that she could visit when my spouse was around. She brought that up again, saying how shocked and taken aback she was. I told her she had time to respond and or process that information and come back at a later date to discuss it. But instead of doing that, she went and gossiped about it with everyone. Stop, girl. The majority of the conversation was about her speaking to everyone about us, but more so me, not coming to us if she has concerns, and not respecting our boundaries as a family. I also reiterated from our last conversation that healing takes time, and that hopefully we will get to a point where I am comfortable with her alone. However, I cannot tell her how long that will take. She just needs to give it time and stop giving us reasons to take steps backward instead of forward. Looking back now that the conversation is over, we didn't discuss that boundaries have been an issue since before I was even in the picture. This is on my spouse, and I feel it's not my place to bring it up, but he has complained to me about it in the past. I also think we should have mentioned that some of the things we share with them are personal and not meant to be spread to every single family member and friend. That might also be part of the issue. She admitted to sharing everything we've told her with multiple people. I do feel a bit better about everything overall. My spouse definitely had my back and stressed that he was severely disappointed in her behavior. It only took him a hot minute to come around. Honestly, you just have to keep having conversations with your husband to make sure that you continue to stay on the same page about your mother-in-law. We left on good terms, but I am still stressed and worried that we will continue to have similar issues in the future. But I guess this is all for now. Wish me luck that this will be the final major conversation we have to have with them, and that moving forward, things go smoother. Definitely feel like I missed a lot, but I think I covered the gist of it. And edit to add, since assumptions are being made, I thought simply pointing out that we are being supervised by a pediatrician would be enough. I never said I was anti-vax or that I was definitely not going to vaccinate my child. Part of the issue I've had with mother-in-law is her shoving her opinions on us about vaccinations when our pediatrician made suggestions due to issues we have seen in our child. She potentially has, and my family does have, certain allergies. The vaccinations were something we had to discuss with our pediatrician. By the way, I've got to discuss with you guys that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. And there's a little bit left to this story. But do you have any final thoughts?
It's just so crazy to me how like obvious it is that communication is like the key to everything.
Would have solved everything so much sooner.
And so many people in this world ignore that.
And also, I was going to say, OP probably would have had a lot less problems with the mother-in-law if her husband had stepped in sooner. It probably wouldn't have gotten to this point where everyone in the family knows about all of your business. If he had stepped in and said, hey, like, mom, come on.
Right. It's such an easy thing to do. But oh boy, let's see what is left.
We aren't just going against the grain or blindly choosing not to vaccinate. We are still navigating what's best for our child. This was not the main point of the post. This is a mother-in-law sub, and this post was about her lies and overstepping boundaries, not whether I am vaccinating my child or not. I even edited the post to clarify that we are being advised by a pediatrician, and I'm still getting downvoted in the comments. I guess I'll update my flair because I was not looking for opinions on my child's medical care in this sub, or honestly anywhere on the internet. And that is the end of that freaking story. Man, oh man.